welcome to the stage Melbourne United, who had a historic start to the season, hit a little bit of a flat spot, but still found themselves in the postseason, finishing the regular season with a big throwdown win over the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Please welcome to the stage Dean Vickerman and Chris Goulding. CG, historic start to the season, but again, right now you're preparing for postseason basketball. How do you feel?
Yeah, we feel good. We feel like we gained a little bit of momentum and got back to playing more recognisable Melbourne United basketball in that last regular season game. So we're looking forward to just keeping this thing rolling.
Dean, can you give us an idea of where the team's at coming off a really good performance to end the season? Do you sort of ride the back of that, or do you sort of say, hey, that's what we can do, however, there's still lots of work that we need to do over here?
Yeah, I think the second part of that, you saw within game, in the back end of that third quarter where we turned it over 5 or 6 times and we weren't at our best, but for the majority of that game we were super disciplined in how we wanted to defend. I think we saw more individual creation from different guys with some switching and how we attacked that. So, discipline with our structure, understanding our offensive system, but ability to go and create shots, when needed. And so, walked out with good confidence about our progress, for the finals.
After that game, there was sort of a sentiment that you sort of beat the Phoenix at their own game, crashing their O boards, forcing turnovers, things like that. Do you think that's something that your team can sustain going forward, and that could be part of the identity of this team?
Yeah, we really wanted that to be something we improved on from last year, and spent a lot of time with our rebounding, different techniques about. We got into the depths and the weeds of rebounding about how we can be better at it, and for us to come up in a big game with 20 O boards and give us the extra possessions that we needed to win. I want it to be an identity of this group that we're not giving up second shots, and we're really finding extra possessions with those. And I think Jesse Edwards has been amazing, but we're seeing other guys come in, Dash Daniels finding ways to the O glass, and a good contribution from a lot of people.
Chris, Dean mentioned the sort of creation that your team can have, especially from obviously Milton and Tyson. What does that do for this team when both of those guys are aggressive and trying to score the ball, and what does it do for your game when those two guys are sort of in that mentality that they were against the Phoenix?
Yeah, it's tricky when you get a lot of new players, some new to the league, some new to a system, and when they're not sort of inherently selfish players, they tend to defer or whatever it is, but we've really just been pushing that confidence and that aggressiveness, especially from Tice. He does some things at practice that literally will blow your mind. So just giving him that confidence to come out, be aggressive, get on the front foot, and we can play off that, I think is important for us. And Milt's Milt. He's a offensive bucket getter and ready to shine at this time of year. So we're a group that needs everyone to be playing well, and a lot of the parts of the year guys haven't been playing well and some have been playing great, and you mix and match that. So we're hoping that at this part of the year we can all get on a little groove and show the team we can be.
The last 2 seasons you guys got the big break and then could prepare for a semis. What's different about having to prepare for a one-off game and then another one-off game?
Yeah, for quite some time now we've been preaching desperation and attention to detail and how important every possession and game is. So we get to live that now. Never really been a big fan of the play-in tournament. I like the top 4, but turns out this year I love the play-in tournament.
Dean, how have you seen Dash Daniels' season, his development? What sort of role do you see him playing in the playoffs? And how important is he to the group? Yeah, I think
it was so good to have him, at the back end of last year and just understand our system a little bit better. And I think he's just continued to navigate his first year about maybe where he thought he had different advantages, how good was his defense going to be, and but I think he's at a point right now where slotted into this starting role with Milton, electing to say, hey, I think I can contribute more coming off the bench, and so as our defensive stopper in the starting group, and now pushing him a little bit more on the offensive side, get out and rebound and push it and get your feet in the paint, tack offensive glass, be a great cutter, shoot your open shot. And so I think we've seen little moments of that in the last few games, but we're going to back him in. He played 16 minutes the other night, and really trust what he can get done defensively. There's still some areas improvement. Garden Sobes the other day, big assignment, and to stay with a guy like that, and he learned some things from that game, and he'll just keep getting better.
How well is he setting himself up for taking that next step to the big league next year?
Yeah, we hope that guys that come through our program, that there's a foundation that's really strong, helping to move forward, and we've obviously seen that with Luke Travis and Ariel Huckporty and even Joel Foxwell, going to college. And so, hopefully, there's just a real solid grounding about being a pro, and what he learns from CG and others every day of just about going about your job. And you just feel like there's something that's going to shine for him in this playoff series.
One for both of you. How do you see Tassie as an opponent? Like Scott Roth's talking about taking a free swing. They've got so many injuries at the moment. How dangerous are they?
Yeah, great respect for their program, and anytime there's injuries or whatever, Scotty and their staff do a great job of seeing Nick Marshall rise up right now, seeing Majuk Deng drop a 30-piece the other night. They've got weapons there, and they'll have a strategy to go ahead and beat us. And so we walk into this series with nothing but respect for that program and the people that they put on the floor. Obviously with Magne, had one of his most amazing games against us this year, and we thought we had good opportunities, created great advantages, but his rim protection was pretty elite. And so can we really take advantage of the way Jesse Edwards is playing right now, and really use that size advantage?
CG, I guess it's a different approach for your United teams, usually where you're the hunted, and now I guess you're going to have to take it the hard way from fifth to if you're going to win the title. Does it feel different? Does it feel like there's a bit of pressure off? Like how are you sort of approaching it, given that, hey, you're not one, you're not two, you're fifth, and you've got to go the long route, and probably there's people out there that have already written United off?
Yeah, how do we approach it? Well, the reality is we're in elimination games from the jump. And oftentimes throughout the last couple of years, it's taken for us to get down a little bit, or for the chips to turn, to really get those competitive juices going and put it all on the line. So it's not the way I'd like it to be, but I'm hopeful that the desperation that's needed, and the reality of it could be our last game, is going to be a real positive for us and the personnel that we have. But yeah, feel confident about where we are.
You're going to tell me that you don't hear that noise, but Dino, I guess I'm interested in your thoughts of there is that outside noise of I guess the team that goes into each season, hey, title fancies, people picking you to finish top two. You're going also from fifth spot. How do you hear the noise? Do you have to douse it, and do you use it as fuel in the locker room to go, hey, they're telling us we can't win it, let's show them?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about using that as a motivating factor right now. We just kind of live where we are, and you say we had a 20-win season, with Shea Ili not playing most of the year, and different things, and you say, well, you probably gave me that at the start. It's like, it's not far away, and you say, yeah, look at to be top 2, was there another 3 wins in there that we could have got this year? And it's like, yeah, we easily could have got another 3 wins, but we didn't. And we're in 5th spot, and we're in an elimination game. And as Chris said, you look at those final series for the last couple of years, and when we had our backs against the wall, it brought out the best in us. And this is a really fun group to coach. At different times, our confidence level hasn't been perfect, but we're really building in that area right now. And I know they just want to keep playing basketball together for as long as possible.
Do we have one online before? One online?
Yeah, just one from me, Dean. Just quickly. Obviously, you would have liked to finish higher, and you'll only know the answer to this in hindsight, but could it end up being a positive that you have a shorter break? So now you'll have a 13-day break from your last game instead of 20 plus if you finished a little bit higher. So, provided you win in advance, do you feel you might actually be able to hit the ground running a bit better if you end up playing one of those top 2 teams?
Yeah, the FIBA break wasn't great for us last time, and so we want to make sure that there's a different mentality, and it has to be a different mentality for us coming out of this one. And it's kind of good to know who you're playing, and I guess you're sitting in top 2, you're kind of preparing for everybody. We know we've got jack jumpers, and we know, the next game after that, if we're good enough to win it, about whether it's Perth or Southeast. And so, how we prepare ourselves, through this window, obviously Barlow, Tanner Krebs, Tommy Wilson, away with the Boomers, and unbelievable for them. But I'm making sure that my communication is going to be great with those guys about what we're doing every day, to make sure that they stay up to speed and absolutely prepared as possible.
Just quickly, Dean, do you have any scope on if Shilly may be ready for this playing game, or is it purely the playoffs, assuming you make it?
No, there's the goal is to have him ready for this game, and so he has a checkpoint today with some running. But yeah, I like the way he's moved around so far in the things that he's done in his rehab, and so yeah, if he's ready, he's ready. If he's not, he's not. And so, but the goal is to have him there, and I think a spark for 12 to 15 minutes that can give Tyson a little bit of rest, would be amazing for us.
Appreciate both your time. Thank you so much for today, and good luck next week.
Cheers.